All right, ladies and gentlemen, in history of Black History Month, I'm going to talk about a very special group of African American soldiers, talk about my own book, and this book that I'm in the process, fingers crossed, of getting turned into a movie. First of all, happy Black History Month, and I'm going to talk about a special group called the Buffalo Soldiers, who they are, and how they relate to me, and just being a Cavalry Scout in the Army. So I joined the Army in 2005, and I wanted to do one of the most badass jobs that they had. It was the war in Iraq was well underway. From Rochester, New York, man, I was a bad kid, and I told my recruiter, I want action, right? So show me all these videos of guys doing normal jobs, supply, and just a bunch of normal jobs in the Army. I'm like, man, just skip all those. Show me that action, right? So he showed me a video of guys coming out of the water and rappelling from trees and doing all this high speed stuff, man, chasing guys in Iraq and all that. And then I said, I don't care what that is, sign me up for that. And they said, well, sir, that's a 19D, that's a Cavalry Scout. And the rest is history. I joined as a Cavalry Scout. I went to Fort Knox, Hotel Troop 615 in 2005. Graduated OSA in January of 2006. Got assigned to my unit, the 361st Cavalry Regiment out of Fort Carson, Colorado. Joined as a Cavalry Scout, but I want to go into the history of Cavalry Scouts because not so many people know about the Buffalo Soldiers. That's why I wear this hat. I wrote a book called Calvary, which I'm going to talk about later. But Buffalo Soldiers in the 1800s were a group of African American soldiers, cavalry soldiers, and back then they rode horses, so they were called Buffalo Soldiers, horse cavalry. I believe a 9th and 10th Regiment, and back then this was unprecedented, unheard of for an all-black group of soldiers to join the military. Well, to be even in the military. Reason being, just like today, unfortunately, when it comes to anything that requires intellect, that requires you to think, that requires you to use your mind, black people aren't thought of. So for these black soldiers to have their own cavalry regiments, man, it was something very special back then. And their job back then in the 1800s was to protect the western frontier, the plains, and all that good stuff, man. Defending against Native Americans and things like that who were trying to, I guess, get their land back, which is unfortunate. You have one group of minorities going against another group. But, excuse me, when you have this group of Buffalo Soldiers, man, who just want to prove, hey, we're worth fighting, we can fight as well. That's what it was back then, man. And here's a picture of those mighty Buffalo Soldiers. Stupid like. It's on history.com, man. Buffalo Soldiers back in the day, chilling. Now, fast forward 2005. Obviously, we don't fight wars on horseback anymore. So I was armored cavalry. So me and my guys, man, we deployed to Iraq as Cav Scouts, and I was a lead scout. So lead Humvee driver, and this is me and my guy. One of me and my guys I wrote about in the book called G. But that was our truck, you know. We got the 249 on there, and then the 50 cal in the front, locked and loaded, ready for action all the time, man. But being a Cav Scout, it was the job requires reconnaissance. So what we did is recon. That's why I don't know where it is now, but reconnaissance. And our job is just sit there and observe. And when we were in Iraq, man, we would take out a unit if it was an enemy unit. If it was small enough, if not, we do a perimeter, something called a cordon. Nobody in, nobody out. We call in infantry, or we would call in 13 Foxes, call in mortar fire, things like that, man. And it was nothing like it. And the reason that this is so special and why I wrote this book and why I self-published this book, 20 years of war, there are so many fictional, fictional and non-fictional movies that came out of this war. None of them starred African Americans. None of them were about African Americans. As a matter of fact, historically, I believe there's only two big group of African American soldiers who had movies made. And those were the Buffalo Soldiers and the Tuskegee Airmen. I think the last movie made about the Tuskegee Airmen was called Red Tails. And I self-published this book. It's on Amazon because I heard a lot of people, I did a lot of research on writing a book, and I did everything myself. The editing isn't perfect, and it's not a perfect book, but it's my book and it's my story. And the reason that I chose to self-publish, I know a lot of good authors who have their books turned into movies who said they had to go through a process sending in their book to all these different literary agents, all these different publishers. And I said, I'm going to send out five query letters. But one thing I'm not going to do, and if you believe in your book and your story, I highly suggest you have this mindset as well. I'm not going to have nobody tell me that me and my guys ain't worth their time. Especially since we made history. We were a group of African American soldiers that decided to fight on the front lines in Iraq. And in the process, your boy earned one of these. PFC, excuse me, PFC, David Kendrick, got a Purple Heart along the way because June 17, 2007, I was shot by a sniper in both my legs. Another reason why this book is so historic, and what I pitch when I talk to these people who I want to actually purchase the book, and the people I'm talking to right now to try to get this into a movie, the New York Times did a report about our deployment to Iraq, and this was a time in 2007 when President Bush initiated the troop surge, where I think he sent about 30,000 extra troops in the war, and it was documented by the New York Times, damn it, there we go, as the bloodiest year for troops in Iraq. You said it again, the bloodiest year, all right? We lost 899 soldiers. And I served with these special group of guys, man, these black Cav Scouts, making history on the front lines during the bloodiest year of the war. So when I wrote this book, I decided to self-publish because I wasn't going to have nobody tell me that, first of all, these guys don't deserve their respect or their time, the Buffalo Soldiers, and me and my guys, modern-day Buffalo Soldiers, don't deserve their respect and their time. Back in the old days, they were riding horses, and when I play this sound, you'll be like, oh, that's where that came from. But before they went into war or went into a battle, they had bugles, and they played a certain battle cry, certain song, and it sounds like this. And then, of course, you know, people now, they go, charge after that, all that good stuff, man. But that's history. That's why I wrote this book, man, because we come from them. And I wrote a book about me and my 5 friends, man, going through hell, building our bond, our friendship in the battlefield, on the war zone, in the war zone, ducking and dodging EFPs as the lead scout for my platoon, man. And I went to Iraq when I was 19 years old and earned this Purple Heart when I was 20 years old. And so I decided that this story just has to be told, man, because it's history. I even released a book on Black History Month last year. And now I'm in the process of making this movie, and I'm meeting with some people here in Atlanta. Fingers crossed, hopefully things go well. But when it comes to African American soldiers, man, we don't have any movies out there. We don't have any books out there. Because African American soldiers just don't join the war to fight. When I joined in 2005 as a teenager, people was like, I'm not going to join that white man's army. And my time in the military didn't go as expected. I did get shot by a sniper, but I enjoyed every single damn minute of it, man. And now you and your friends or whoever interested can read my book, Calvary, by David Edward Kendrick Jr. That's the boy. Available on Amazon, and hopefully you guys will be seeing Calvary the movie coming soon, in dedication to the Buffalo Soldiers who served in the 1800s, man, as Cav Scouts, and the 19Vs, me and my guys that served in Iraq with the 361st Cavalry Regiment out of Fort Carson, Colorado. And my unit made history once again because there's a movie called The Outpost where somebody who I served with, Clint Romachet, earned the Medal of Honor, and I lost two of my good friends, man, Scusa and Griffin. So my unit made history twice. So check out The Outpost. I believe it's available on Netflix. And also check out the series Medal of Honor on Netflix because Romachet, I think he produced that or had a big part in it or something like that. But pick up a book, man. Read some history. That's me right there, your boy, David Edward Kendrick Jr., man. Purple Heart veteran. Just trying to get this book out there in the public, man, and just spread the word about African American soldiers. Gonna be talking about a lot more African American soldiers in the future for Black History Month. You have a good one.